Namaste and welcome to The Native, tribe behind every child, a space where individuals can share their journey, the tribe that built them and made them who they are today. Today with us we have Alpana Kamdar. She is the founder of Varaha. Varaha is a space that helps curate unique programs for children. We'll know a lot from her, the work that she does, and how she contributes to the education industry in today's time. Hi, Alpana. Welcome to The Native.
Hi, Niyati. Thank you very much for having me over. It's lovely to be part of something so unique.
Thank you. And we want to know a lot about your journey, the unique work that Varaha is doing, and we're here to find out more about that.
Let's dive into it then.
So, to begin with, I want to understand who is Alpana as a person before anything else, before a mother, before an entrepreneur. Who is Alpana?
Um, I think the core values that define Alpina are honesty, truthfulness to a fault, and a lot of hard work and ambition.
Yeah, ambition for sure. I can see that. We've worked together for so many years, so I know that. What is your journey? What has your journey been like? I know you were a professor at St. Xavier's many years ago. From teaching to becoming a businesswoman to starting something of your own. Tell us a little more about that journey.
Niyati, I was teaching at St. Xavier's College before the birth of my first son, and I was teaching Indian management thoughts and practices for BMS students. And it was a completely different world than what, we are in today. My husband decided to study after the birth of our first child, and we moved lock, stock, and barrel with him. Um, and as my child started growing up, I realized that every child's learning capability, learning needs, and learning graph is very, very different. I had the privilege of staying in Singapore, where, of course, the way they conducted their classes, the way they enrolled children, the way they made children feel was very, very different. We decided to come back to India, and I felt a complete sense of loss. Every time when I asked for a class for Shaurya, everybody would be like, हाँ वो 3 बिल्डिंग छोड़ के जो आंटी है वो करा देगी, या XYZ सर के ही फुटबॉल क्लास में जाना चाहिए. And I would go. Sometimes they were wonderful vetted options. At other times, it was a name, and frankly speaking, nor was the teaching at level, nor was the experience that I felt as a parent, great and conducive. That's when I realized that, like me, there must be so many other mothers and fathers who must be wanting a vetted source, somebody who teaches things to their child at the level that they understand, with more personalized plans. And 10, 12 years back, there was no option of taking a trial class.
Right.
It was all like, yahi hai and yahi karna hai. So it all started off as smaller playdates at my house, wherein we all got together and we could experience a particular teacher, a teaching style, or a topic, maybe just on a Saturday morning or a Sunday evening. And Varaha just happened. And it just organically happened. I never realized it. I never planned for it. It just happened. As a mom, I did something for my child, and
So this is where it's taken place. You saw a gap and Varaha is trying to fill that gap.
yeah, absolutely. That's how it started off. That have a meaningful space where we can find great teachers, not necessarily in your geography, not necessarily doing the normal English, science, and mathematics that people were doing, but doing out of the box things and providing value for learning.
Absolutely. And I'm very intrigued to know, and I've never asked you this question. Why Varaha, the name? It is so unique. It is so different. How did this name come up?
So I am a very big Krishna bhakt.
Hmm.
And one of the Dash avatars of Vishnu is the Varaha avatar.
Right.
The Varaha avatar actually rescues Bhudevi. And I always thought that I'll also be like Varaha, going into the depths of anything, trying to find the best and, rescuing the entire learning process. So that's how I came up with the name Varaha.
That's that's very interesting and so powerful. I mean, the name gives you a lot of power. Thank you, and power to the work as well that you do. So, throw a little light on what kind of classes does your platform offer to parents?
So, Niyati, Varaha offers everything from coding and programming to creative writing to foreign languages, podcasting, YouTubing, generative AI. We have an entire gamut of, topics that we are covering. And we've really had the privilege of being associated with 90 plus talented educators.
Wow.
Who have had such a varied experience. We're doing extremely customized work, customized experiences, where we are having niche requests coming to us. Like somebody got in touch with us last year saying that my son is auditioning for the part of Shrek for a school musical. Please train him. Another person called up and said from Pune that my son is obsessed with the real estate market.
Oh, wow.
And he wants to launch his own podcast on understanding real estate as a 12-year-old.
Hmm.
So it's all very exciting, very different. Of course, we have normal programs that we do, but we also have a lot of custom stuff that we are doing.
That's a wide range.
Exactly why, yeah.
And it makes me think that if there is a demand for such a platform that parents and students are looking out for, what does that talk about us as a country, in your opinion?
See, Niyati, I think that as Indians, we are a very, very driven and a competitive bunch of people. We love showcasing the best of our children. We love showcasing our unique talents. If you realize that, while growing up also, when you go to a family function, your parent would be saying, Arey, wo joke suna do. Arey, she to sang very, very well, or they participated in a dance competition. So there is always that feeling that I want to, put out my child's best. And if while staying in our country, we are having the benefit of this, then why not, use it to the best of our ability?
Right, and always wanting to do something unique,
Yeah.
something different.
Something unique, something different, out of the box, जो कभी किसी ने नहीं किया है. We want to have that differentiating factor for us.
As a matter of fact, I know that Varaha is also a part of the global game. I know that. Like, you're doing a lot of work, not only in India, but also out of India.
Yes.
If you had to compare the kind of tutors or mentors that you're collaborating with in our country, uh, and the demand that's coming to you from the global, audience, what does it tell about our country in that sense?
Um. So globally, we've had demand more from the Middle East and, from America as well as Australia, where people have specifically called up and said, we require an Indian teacher. We require a teacher to do, basic mathematical concepts with our child. We want the teacher to do structured learning. So I think what Indians are very well known for is giving a lot of structure to their learning, giving a lot of formal training to children, which helps them with speed, which helps them with accuracy, which helps them with skill building. So I think that we have extremely talented pool of teachers in our country who are able to juggle and toggle between different learning styles with great ease. I have never come across a teacher, jisko if I've given, even an A-level syllabus and said that can you help the answer has always been, yes, I'll do it. Just give me some time. So we are a very resilient race, and the learning curve for most of the people here is extremely sharp.
Yeah, and I think we also have a never say no attitude.
Absolutely.
Ready to take up any challenge. So that speaks a lot about our country and the mentors that we find in our country. But I'm sure you're running a business. You're doing some work.
Yeah.
Which also requires you to kind of screen, right? To pick and choose. While we talk about having the best, parents want the best.
Yeah.
When they come to you, they ask for the best. What is your process of screening and getting that best on board?
So because Varaha was started by a mom, and at the heart of it, it is a mom still trying to find the best classes, the best teachers, the best help for her children. All of the classes that I do are personally vetted by me. I mean, the kids have been great. They have sat through demo lessons with me. They have given me pointers saying, Mummy, ye acha nahi laga, yeah, this is great. And I'm loving the way this particular teacher is teaching. So they have been at the level 1 of the screening. And then, of course, we vet the mentors. We are doing spot checks. We are constantly speaking with the clients. Most of the people who have done services with us have had conversations with me. We've had very longish conversations on, potential graphs of their children and how we can improve the learning journey and all. And I think that personalization that we are offering is what is making us separate from everyone else. Because at other places, it's just becoming a platform which is very, very anonymous, which is very technical. Here, they have access to the teacher directly, and they have access to us also directly. So it literally, in your language, becomes like one tribe helping each other.
Right. With personalization comes a lot of challenge also to you as an entrepreneur to run the show. What are the challenges?
There is no break.
Yeah.
You could be anywhere. If a parent needs you, they need you.
Yeah.
If there's somebody who wants to talk about their child, you can't tell a parent that nahi 4 din baat karenge, I'm on a holiday. And the other thing is that when everybody is used to having access to you, it's difficult for them to talk with somebody else because they have that comfort zone, and it becomes like a family relation,
Right.
with them. Somebody's talking about, hey, I'm having my second child. Please, can you adjust? Or suddenly I'm having guests at my house. And tomorrow, I need a teacher to do like science experiments. Can you immediately send someone? So that level of personalization comes with a level of, friendliness and camaraderie. But yeah, then the trade-off is that there is never an off moment. Yeah. You don't get that downtime where you say that, okay, fine, I'll be working only from 10 to 6. You're working whenever the parent wants you to work.
And you have chosen this and you're happy to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a thrill to it. And there's a sense of, community. There's a sense that I have also gone through this somewhere. And if my experience is able to help someone, I'm really more than happy to, do it.
Alpana, COVID opened a can of worms and a lot of education went from offline to online. What is your take? What was your experience like?
So, Niyati, we met in COVID. We had actually planned a workshop that was supposed to go, and then the lockdown came.
Right.
And me, like most people, thought that this is a 2-week thing. And initially, I held on only to realize that there is so much scope for a child to pick up even in online learning. We had the benefit of then having teachers from every corner of the world. And, COVID, even though it stopped travel, it kind of brought the world together. So I think online learning now has changed the way the children are picking up things and at the speed at what they are picking up things. And it's a beautiful avenue that's opened up. And especially in a city like ours, where it takes, more than an hour to reach a place. Why not do it from the comfort of your home? Do it at your time and, take the benefit of the teacher from anywhere in the globe.
Absolutely. And along with online learning, we've also seen a huge wave of AI. The entire world is sort of dependent on it. And I think children are also getting used to it and are depending a lot on it.
Um, AI has now become a must-have tool, be it an adult or be it a child. Okay. It doesn't mean that our children are outsourcing their thinking. It doesn't mean that, it's stopping their creativity or it's making them dumb. No. In fact, I've said this before and I'll say it even today that an AI can help you only as much as you prompt them to. And when you are doing the bulk of the thinking, it really doesn't matter what platform you use. In fact, if not anything, AI is actually helping children better their skills. Today, they are exposed to so many different editing tools. Today, they are exposed to so many different writing tools. They can broaden their perspectives. At times, they don't have time to, probably know about something in great depth or read like 40 pages. But even having a summary at least touches your child's mind to that particular topic. So I don't think AI is all bad.
But do you think it is making us weak problem solvers? We too depend a lot on it.
Yeah, everybody's been depending a lot on it. And if you're just going to blindly follow what AI is saying, then yeah, probably. But the minute you ask questions to AI, the minute you start tweaking the responses that they are giving, you are actually opening your mind to 2 steps ahead.
Right.
So it's definitely not making you a weak problem solver. In fact, it is giving you more perspectives on what can happen on a particular topic.
You know, a lot of parents are working on profile building
Yes.
for their children. Throw some light on that for us.
So profile building actually started a few years back when children from grade 11 and 12 were applying for universities abroad, and then they wanted to show what they were doing in the best possible manner. Some of this has been very, very misused where people are making up things, fudging content, just putting pictures. But in my opinion, the real profile building is actually starting in grade 6 and 7 because that's when children are exploring a plethora of different things. And that's where they start liking something. That's where the real cookie crumb trail is left of what is it that has been interesting to them and how they want to create an impact in that particular field. We've just spoken to a parent of a child in Ahmedabad who's picked up crochet as a hobby. She is only 11 years old and she's been, selling different items and giving all of the money to charity. So it's a skill that she's learning and she wants to showcase it. So it's lovely that, they are having these talents that now have a platform to be shown.
You know, Alpana, as per research, 58% of Indian students opt for classes outside of school. Okay, so there's a big question, what's happening in schools?
What's happening in schools, or what is it that extracurriculars are doing, and what are these extra activities that kids are going into?
What is missing in the graph, maybe?
I think the school is an excellent place for you to learn the broad aspect of a concept. It teaches you a sense of discipline. It teaches you socialization, working collaboratively, taking instruction. Okay. However, I have noticed that especially in Asian kids, there is a propensity for them to seek out smaller groups to understand concepts more in detail. They require that little cushioning, they require that kind of support that is needed for them. And I feel, Niyati, there is nothing wrong in it. Everybody's learning style is different. And somehow, maybe our children are not so much attuned to self study. Maybe they require that little extra time, that little more personalization, that little more, did you understand it, that little more beta beta.
Or maybe the parents are not satisfied enough.
Maybe, but I also think that parenting today has become an extremely challenging job. With work, with travel, maids, the traffic and everything, there is only so much bandwidth that a parent has. I don't see a tired parent coming home at 9 o'clock and, probably needing to prep up for the next day to sit and make their child do like their history homework or their project. I always tell parents that leave the teaching to people who are professionals and do only relationship building with your child.
Right.
If your child feels that you are a comfortable and safe space for them to come and vent out, have fun, create memories, build trust, then half your battle is won. Because you will always find somebody to teach your child, but you cannot find another person to be their parent. It has to be you.
Correct. Do you think demographically all the parents coming from different parts of the world think like this? Or is there a shift in the mindset? The more you move out of our country, you see a shift in the mindset of people.
I think, Western parents, they give a lot more agency and sovereignty to the kids in terms of decision making, in terms of independence, and, independent thought and learning. And it's great. It probably works for them. Most of their kids move out when they are 16.
Right.
But I think that there is merit to this joint family, this cohesive thought process, this family-oriented thought process that we are also bringing up our children with.
Do you think Indian parents are more controlling?
I don't think they are more controlling. A lot of us have grown up in a very different way than what our children are growing up in. The world has shifted in an extremely fast manner. Some of it is because of technology, some of it is because of AI, some of it is because of education. And we as parents are still trying to keep pace with everything. So there is a sense of loss of what I have grown up with. There's a sense of, oh, there's so much competition. Oh, I want the best for my child. Can I provide the best? So maybe we come across as more controlling and more micromanaged. But at the heart of it, I feel every parent just wants their child to be happy, just wants their child to be successful and settled.
Absolutely, which I think a lot of parents in our country want that. They want their child to be the best in everything, successful in everything, achieve a lot. That something is that is in us, I think, as Indians, it's there in us. And yeah, nothing wrong in it, I feel. It's amazing to be competitive.
Correct. Nothing wrong in it as long as you are not living your unfulfilled dream through your child. And, you are not pressurizing your child to do things that does not bring them happiness.
Right.
Because we are all chasing dreams. It's either a job in the Big Five, it's either something, an admission at the Ivy Leagues. But, everything needs to be measured and it can never be at the cost of your happiness.
So Alpana, as a mom, what kind of a mom are you?
A strict and indulgent mom.
Okay. Can you elaborate the indulgent bit?
I'm strict because I feel that structure helps my children. I realize things because I see it from a mom perspective as well as an educator perspective. I have studied abroad. I have worked in India. So I'm seeing those contrasts also that are there. But, very early on in life, I had told my husband that the world is a harsh place. Everybody wants to teach you very harsh lessons. And our children should be pampered by us. And they should feel that, yeah, we are the world to our parents. They will do anything for us. So for their happiness, I am indulgent.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a good parenting strategy.
I'll let you know 10 years later, Niyati, whether that strategy paid. Oh, I'm sure it will. Oh, so let's see. We have one teenager right now, and we have a preteen right now. So you can imagine our house is always full of blasts, surprises, and "Ye nahi hua hai," and mom, and it's not that deep, and all of that.
We were speaking about the tribe that you've built, yeah, right, with your work with Varaha. And working for children, working with children, it's an emotional journey. Yes, right. You need to be empathetic. You need to sympathize and understand where the parent is coming from. Having said that, you can't be emotional on the business front. Yeah. So how do you balance that?
That's a very good question, Niyati, because a lot of times parents will call up, say that my child didn't get good marks. I did these classes with you. I didn't get good marks. Abhi aap kuch karo. Aap kuch karo does not necessarily mean, put in more classes or whatever. They either want a discount or unwilling to pay and all. And that, I don't think, it's fair. So yes, business is business. We are there to comfort you, to cushion you, to help you, to go that extra mile for your child. But I think that, we offer a very fair service, and that aspect is completely separate.
Absolutely. And it's important to have that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, not only with children, we also teach adults, and sometimes we teach senior citizens, and we go above and beyond the classroom to be able to help them.
Right.
So yeah, it's a different journey because we are catering to so many different age groups.
So define a difficult parent to me.
A difficult parent is one who has unrealistic expectations of the teacher, not keeping their child's aptitude and capabilities in mind. Because that's where it creates the disconnect between the child, teacher, parent, and the entire output of the learning module. If you have unrealistic expectations with either the teacher or your child, it's never going to work. And you've seen that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. In your experience, what is the ratio? How many parents are capable of understanding the need of their children versus how many are not? And they just want to do it because it's a rat race. There's competition. They want their child to do better than the other child. Look at that kid. He's doing so much. Why are you not able to do it?
I think need every parent understands. Capability is what is the mismatch on. So I understand that yes, my child probably needs an extra chemistry class. Or I understand that my child is really doing badly in reading and needs a reading class. But I need to match it with, does my child have the capability to go beyond the basic of what is being offered? Are they, the kind of person who wants to push and do a higher level learning? Or maybe, they want to stop at a basic level of coding, or they want to really go into the depth of it. So that's what every parent needs to keep doing a check on. And every few months, this check needs to be done. Because it really helps you narrow down your child's strengths and your weaknesses. And they understand that some things are compulsory. You have to do them as part of your schoolwork, as your coursework. Then you help and support your child in those things and make sure that the things that they are outshining on or the stuff that they enjoy, you give them opportunities to excel in it.
Yes. And also stay in touch with you, the tutor. Understand how the child is progressing. Yeah. Instead of just having demands, get into the picture, understand where the child is and how much growth has taken place or not taken place.
Correct.
Do you face that challenge where parents are not involved at all, but they have a lot of demand?
Absolutely. We used to face these challenges some time back, and then we had a simple hack. We started putting out a WhatsApp message at the end of every class, just summarizing what the child has learned today. It's there for the parent to see it anytime during the week. It documents the effort that the teacher has put in. It documents what the child has done. So this kind of helped us reduce the gap between the two parties to a very large extent. But of course, we also have people, who don't submit assignments, parents who feel that things should be done only in the class by the teacher, or that the teacher is available to finish the child's homework. And then those are learning loops that don't go very far, Niyati.
Yeah. Those are some challenges of.
Yeah, because then the child has not learned, and what you have provided is a stopgap arrangement. So while you did very well at the homework task given to you, your child could never transfer that skill outside of that homework, and they couldn't translate it in their life. Most schoolwork actually is life skills.
Yeah.
We say that we never use Pythagoras theorem, or why did I need to know, soil erosion and all. But this is everything that is, preparing you for life.
Absolutely. So if you had to sum it up and tell the parents, what are you offering? What is Varaha as a platform offering? What would you want to tell them?
I think that Varaha is a curator. We curate an experience. We curate a class. Anything that you feel you need for your child, we have it available for you. And all of our teachers, all of our experiences are vetted experiences and extremely personalized to a fault. So, yeah, that's what we do.
Okay. After a lot of intense discussion that we've had, we're going to have a fun, fast, and curious session where I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to give me candid, fast answers.
Okay.
Are you ready? All right. One word to describe Varaha.
I'm thinking of so many, but I think high quality.
Okay. A skill every child should learn, according to you.
Time management.
Good one. An idea you said no to and later thanked yourself.
I had somebody who had come on board a few years back and said that at every class you should advertise saying that मैं UPSC पास करा दूंगी, मैं GEE में बहुत ही high marks लेकर आऊंगी if you do our classes from grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and that just didn't work with me.
No. Your go-to test for deciding if a learning experience works.
How did I feel as a learner in class? Did I enjoy it? Was it engaging to me or not? And what's the tone of the teacher?
Okay. One moment that made all the hard work worth it.
So many moments every day when I'm dipping or, when I'm feeling low, and then I remember the things that, have happened. The fact that we were able to survive COVID, the fact that, we meet people now and they're like, "Acha, mere bacche ne ye class kiya tha," and I think it makes it all worthwhile.
If Varaha was a child, what would be its personality?
Extremely witty and demanding.
Okay. A lesson from childhood you carry as a founder now.
My dad always instilled in me that whatever it is, you have to speak the truth and you have to own the consequences. That is something that I do up till now. Whether a person has enjoyed, not enjoyed my classes, if I feel that something wrong has happened, I am always here to set it right. And I'm always here to own up my mistake.
An activity or a habit you recommend to every parent.
Reading. Reading with your child, reading out to your child.
So, just an impromptu question. Is there any book that you'd like to recommend?
Different books for different age groups. But I definitely think that you should read out to your child, or whatever it may be.
Okay. One word parents use that you wish they'd stop using.
I want my child to do the best in everything. Best is not possible. We want your child to do better than what they did yesterday.
Yeah, makes sense. Finish this sentence. Children learn best when.
They are given structure, they are given the right learning environment and the right tools to be able to pick up from what's being taught.
Okay. And before we end, there is a question for you that if you had to share an advice with your younger self, what would that be?
The dots will all join. While I was undergoing my journey, a lot of times I didn't realize where I was going, what I was doing, because honestly, it was not a planned thing. I had a completely different vision for myself in mind. I didn't know my entire business I run based on gut feeling, based on what my heart feels and tells me. I don't follow numbers, I don't follow trends and trajectories. So, to my younger self, I want to say that, yeah, the dots will join and they will continue to join. And if it's not joining, then it's not the end of the journey.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey with us. We are very glad to have you on.
The pleasure is all mine.